Hello, my name is Dominic Underhallhouse and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode we're going to be looking at what I'm going to start sort of a little series of these, just mixed in and out of other things, and I'm going to set ourselves little challenges. So rather than just playing a certain number of games or seeing what we go through, we're going to be trying to play this list until we win a game. So it could be one game, it could be 5 games, who knows. So what we're going to be looking at in this game is playing a list that I've just come up with earlier today, and it's going to be the lowest attack possible. So this is called the one attack list because the entire list in itself only has one attack power, and that is Astra herself. There is no other basic attacks in the entire list whatsoever. Every other form of damaging opponents is going to be done through abilities, and so we've got a completely different style of playing the game. So it's going to be really difficult because it means that Cinder is going to be something we need every single turn to do anything whatsoever. So we're not really sure the best way of doing things. We're going to have to be playing things inefficiently out of turn, making good use of our Cinder Spheres, otherwise we're going to have no chance whatsoever. So for the list itself, we're going to start with Detonia. So 2 damage in an AoE is really useful, so that's going to be something that hopefully can shore us up a bit in the early game, especially with a bit more health. We've got Axl Pyro, who's going to be doing 2 damage to all units in area and burn them. Now the burn damage on Axl Pyro is really useful because even though we might only get 1 activation off, it essentially deals 4 damage because it burns them for 2 turns. So combine that with a couple of Astra hits, it's much easier to damage someone. Next we've got Peacemaker Balam. So Peacemaker Balam is going to help us just stall the game a little bit longer. Again, it costs Cinder, but while we're doing this we should be able to place more Cinder Orbs and try and sort of develop on that front. And then for the late game damage, we've got Florio Lancer, who's obviously the bombard unit that everyone knows and loves, and the Aegys Sentinel. So these are obviously big AoE attacks. They should be able to take down multiple units at once, and they really do have good use of that Cinder spend there as well. So to go alongside them, we need a couple of things that don't use Cinder to do what they do. So we've got the Aegis Defense Dome, reducing damage by 1 for all allies in range, which is perfect, and also Ursix Nectarvine to keep us alive that little bit longer. Because these two don't cost any Cinder whatsoever, this is going to help us survive with that while we can spend our Cinder on things like playing new units or dealing damage. And then lastly we've got Necahual. So Necahual is probably not the best unit for this. I'm almost tempted to pick something like Fate Twister Tantan or something along those lines, but given that there is a small amount of synergy with Astra's Into the Breach, and also if we're playing things like the Sentinel, we need to be able to pick it up, put it back down again, same with the Nectarvine. So Necahual has got some utility in this list. It's probably going to be the last unit we play most games, and we're going to rely on everything else instead. So we're going to jump straight into this. I am not really sure how this is going to go, but I'm basically going to play until we win a game. If we win our first one, we'll play another one just to get a little bit more time in it as well. But I'm really looking forward to this. It could be very entertaining. If we come against good players, the chances are we're going to lose in quick succession. But we might not. So I'm just hoping we don't come against someone like Jester, who's obviously, I think Jester's streaming at the moment, have got probably a good list, and we're playing something that's a little below par. Okay, so what do we want here? I mean, Cinder Infusion is going to be almost vital for us, but Escape Hatch is also really good. I think this, because we have such little value in our units, we need to find other ways of getting value, so keeping them alive and also getting that additional Cinder. We are against Jab Angel 333. Okay, so what we're going to do is our standard start with Astra. It's going to play a Cinder Orb back here, and ideally we want to find something that doesn't cost too much to activate early on. So it's probably going to be Axl Pyro and Detonia, or maybe even Axl and Peacemaker Balam, to see what the follow-up would be from there. So because they played Maximus so aggressively, I'm almost tempted to try and find this sort of angle and just get a hit onto him immediately. I mean, if we got a crit there, we'd be in such a good spot. So there's not a good spot for placing our Cinder Orb, so we're going to place it around here. It should be about as hard as possible for them to get a good angle onto it from where they are now, without using a movement ability. I don't think this has got an easy line of sight, but it might do. It's kind of hard to tell over this. So we just have to work on that from there. Okay, if they've got a movement ability, which is quite likely, then absolutely this is what they should do. Post it out, take it away from us. No problem with that whatsoever. That's pretty much the standard course of action. Oh, it looks like they may also push for Maximus, because what they could do is if they could get Maximus to here, for instance, they could maybe, say, move to here, or move somewhere around here, shoot this, and maybe even get in range to steal it. But I think this is going to be a difficult choice for them either way. So there's the Disruptor. So they can absolutely just... Yeah, so it looks like they're going to go for the Steel instead, which is very sensible. Yet here they could get a shot off. If they get... They should get one. Okay, they got... Yeah, and they can steal our Cinder as well. So that's a really big turn for them. That's absolutely what they want to be doing. And I think we're going to be in a lot of trouble trying to deal with this. Given that we've only got 4 Cinder next turn, we probably want to play something like Detonia and maybe even save the Cinder. Because I think that works out well. Okay, they've just got a fully aggressive list. Oh, interesting. This doesn't actually have a good line of sight onto Maximus anywhere nearby, so we need to do this. We've got 4 Cinder, so I don't know what the best choice is here. If we had more, we'd have probably considered something different, but like I might have been considering Sentinel or Florio Lancer here, but I think we just need to try and compete in some way or another. But Axl Pyro is so slow, or so like soft rather. Where can... Okay, so we're going to play Axl Pyro, and we're actually just going to play it here, or we could try and... Let's try and block Maximus in. I don't think their SD can get over here, so we're just going to try and play out Axl Pyro to block Maximus in place. So this gives him a lot reduced area. He probably can't get completely out of range of everything, especially not if we can heal things up next turn as well. So it's likely going down to 2, 1 with Plink. So yeah, this is fine. Okay. Ooh, they're missing. That's good for us as well, because it does make it a lot more likely. And with a lifeline next turn, we're very unlikely to actually lose Axl Pyro next turn, and he's going to stick with full health. And we're also probably in range there as well, so this couldn't have gone much better. We need to find a way of getting into starting to deal with Blindside Esley and whatever they place around here. Yeah, so with Tali and Esley, this is going to hit like a truck. This doesn't matter. We're only going to have 3 Cinder next turn, so it's going to probably need to be Peacemaker Balam or Detonia. We don't have any way of manipulating their placement, so Balam's probably going to be a little bit worse here. So if they're going to wall us in... Okay, they're not. That's probably a sensible idea here. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do here is try and take a shot first and then move. So we're going to use our range attack here. We missed anyway, it's fine. So this needs to come over here. We'll get our flamer shot done, and we want to just move as far back as possible. We'll move over here, still stay out of range of Esley. We'll heal this up. Honestly, looking at this, given that we'll have 7 Cinder next turn, possibly 8, I think we really need to find a way to keep damage on the board. So I'm going to play Detonia. We're also going to play her fairly safe, so back here probably. They have got Disruptor, we need to be aware of that, so in fact with that in mind, I'm still going to place Detonia here, but I'm going to Cinder Infuse her as well. And then I'm going to grow a Cinder. Okay, let's grow the Cinder here to make them shoot it, because they shouldn't really have that much reason to go for a Disruptor on it, because what they'll want to do is disrupt us for the ability to deal damage. If they disrupt this, then that's fine. I think they're just missing the chance of getting Blindside Esley in for 8, which I think is what I'd be looking to do here. So I don't mind them taking this Cinder from us. I think that pretty much does what we want. Especially if they're going to use an assist and 2 Cinder to take 1 away from us. That's absolutely fine. Like, we spent 1 Cinder to spend 2 on them. And now they're going to still want to be moving up towards us. We can start dealing damage. And especially if they group up. So like here, for instance, Detonia's got a good angle. Obviously us hovering over that probably gave them that information. But being able to deal AoE damage potentially, especially if they play something here near Antios, we might be able to get a range of that. Okay, so they've got a Tipu. Interesting. So does this have Drum Dancer Tlali running away as well? So I'm not sure what their plan is here. Given that they've all grouped up and we've got a lot of Cinder, this might just be time to play Florio and just start trying to
taking my time.
Like get additional Cinder. We've got 10 Cinder this turn, so we can actually just play Florio and Aegys Sentinel and just make a little defensive station down here. So
not a waste.
we got a line of
Good
sight anywhere?
ammo.
Not really. I mean, we've got this at -1, but it'll put us in range.
Let's uncork one.
Honestly, I think we're just going to set ourselves up down here
A lively vantage point.
and try and make use of this little sort of indent here. We're going to be fairly safe. And just maybe even wall ourselves in behind
How's
it.
your depth perception?
So we'll start with Florio back here, because Florio needs to be the safest.
You mess up the wax.
Oh, hang on. Oh no, it's 10 over next turn. Well, Florio's what we want to play anyway. Take our 2 Cinder.
Gotta try this.
I probably would have moved slightly differently, but I am going to grow a Cinder here. Again, make them use it rather than come for us. And we'll save that to next turn. So now they're obviously all ranged. We're all activated abilities. Sorry, they're all melee, sorry, and we're activated abilities. I don't think we're too far off of having this. Like, we're not in a good spot by any means. They've still not lost any, like, more than 1 crew. But we've not lost any crew at all. So, given that we can only deploy 3 more, I think here we're probably looking at Sentinel, Dome, and maybe Nectarvine, and just really shoring up that defensive position. But we can't be letting them, just sort of find routes to take us out of this game. We need to start using our Cinder to deal damage, and given that next turn we potentially have 7-9 Cinder now. Ah, so they have a Florio as well. Interesting. Okay. So that actually does change things. So our Bombard is in range, and if we can move up there, we're going to have a good range as well. Given that they've played Florio, we probably want to play our Dome. And we can start worrying about things next turn, or we can try and go for other options. I think Dome and Nectarvine's the right choice here.
What is time, really?
But we could also even... Okay, so they're going to hide over there. So with 9 Cinder, we may not play Dome this turn, actually. We may play Nectarvine, but then Nectarvine isn't protected by the Dome. Basically, I want to activate with Florio, no matter what we do here. I don't know if Florio can even get through that gap, is the issue, actually. Maybe I've walled myself in slightly.
Let's let our hair
So,
down.
can Florio move? We've got no Bombards in range. What if we just played the Sentinel at the front? And just went for a super aggressive placement. Try and force them to deal with it through the line of sight blocking. And we'll start moving things separate from each other, but around the right place. So take a shot onto Tipu where we can.
That Cinder glow.
We'll move Detonia a little bit forward, say this angle,
An engaging
and then get Florio as far forward as possible. We'll check Florio's range. So given that we can only save 3 Cinders next turn, we could go for that Bombard.
Whoops. Did I trigger
But
something?
honestly, I think we're actually better off
Not
just
waste.
growing a
Good
Cinder up
ammo.
here and trying to save 3 anyway. So this is a good Bombard target, but then we can Nectarvine next turn. Yep, so they're going to push us back, that's fine. We don't have anything to do with this, we just have to basically accept that this is where it is. We need to try and get onto their Florio, essentially. So here they can kill 3 things, hit 3 things, they can't hit 4. If I were them, I'd be more pushing for Detonia than for Astra. But this seems reasonable to me.
Sneaky.
Okay, so they're pushing onto us. We need to take out that Florio, is the issue. And what's the range on Flechette? I can't tell from this. So we do need to get Flechette to basically get into range. The problem is we're sort of on the back foot here, because they've got things that basically deal damage if we move towards them. We could always just start moving towards their captain. Or, yeah, if we can take out Florio, everything else has to come towards us. And then we've got obviously the defensive units as well, so we're probably playing a defensive unit this turn. Although, maybe are going to be able to bombard over here, actually.
My process?
So we'll see what they do. If we can get a bombard on 2 targets, we're going to take that. But again, with having Lifeline, maybe we're not in too bad of a spot, especially if we put the defense dome down over here. Okay, we're going to have to see where this goes. This is an interesting setup. So Florio can get in range of these. So this is going to be the first choice. So we can only really hit one of them. Or we can just move on to Zax.
Dad taught me me to share.
Astra's going to be shooting because we're not going to be moving forwards most likely no matter what.
Lovely day for a cookout.
Axl Pyro is going to be out of range. What about this? Does this do anything right now? It does not. So, I think our plan is to play the defense dome over everyone. Start moving up the board slightly. So this is going to hit us with more units, but we're making progress in the right direction. And then you know what? We could almost... So if we want to stick the infusion here, because this is going to be so hard to kill.
Good idea.
I still think we need to do some damage.
Never gets
And
old.
honestly, I think the best thing to damage here is going to be
Uh-oh. Something sounds
Blindside
imminent.
Wrestling.
Brings a little tear.
And then Fire Flame is out of range,
Not
so we'll
a
just
waste.
grow another
Good
Cinder back here.
ammo.
In fact, as far back as we can to try and keep it safe. This is a really interesting game. We're not out of this yet. Bear with me, I'm just having a quick sip of coffee. So we've just taken 2 on our dome, which is what we expected, but this is why we've left Nectarvine unplayed. Because we want to be able to use our Nectarvine consistently. Their Bombard at the moment is only in range of Detonia and our turret, but they're gonna... Yes, okay, so they're gonna group this up here and then go for the Bombard, but I think we can move quite rapidly in their direction now and start chipping things away before they get to us. It's only Florio that we can't deal with, and if we can play Nectarvine and can potentially heal it with Lifeline, then the chances of us being out of longevity here are quite low. So this is quite an interesting spot. I don't know how the game goes from here. Like, there's a good chance we could just lose to Astra here. As in, Astra could be the reason that we lose because she might die. Their Florio's moving out of range, which is interesting. And maybe they're going to do the same over here, but...
What is time, really?
Yeah. So they're just starting to run away. And we can move things up. Like, our turret doesn't matter. We could even just place Necahual, pick it up, and play something else. Ah, Switchback. Okay, so now we've got a new target. Switchback I actually think is probably more dangerous than Florio for us most of the time. The Blink, yep. So how far out of range are we now? Still a little bit to go. So we're going to move as far up as we can with Detonia, because her range is rubbish anyway. Can't even get onto Zax here. Florio's going to move forward and see what we can hit. So we can start moving on to Zax. That's not too unreasonable here.
This working?
So we're going to need to Fire Flame with this. This angle gets us everything we need.
Dad taught me to share.
We can just use Astra to shoot this. Defense Stone can move up to here, so they can disrupt our Florio away.
Let's uncork one.
Lob Explosive is out of range still. But you know what, given the damage that they're placing here, if we pop a forward placed Nectarvine just about here, then this should heal everything we want it to. And
One more minute.
we have got enough for Bombard, but it doesn't hit anything except Zax, so we'll just go for that.
Don't worry.
And grow a
the tree
Cinder.
gave us these.
We'll grow the Cinder forwards. It's the opposite direction to a lot of our stuff.
Lovely day
And
for a cookout.
we'll keep moving forward here. So we are grouping up a lot. We're going to take a lot of damage from their Florio, but again, it's all reduced by 1. And if they can push us out, try and bomb things. Yeah, that works. So they might be able to take out our Nectarvine here if they get some good angles. But Detonia's now moved closer into range, which is actually quite good for us. Yep. So this is a good angle for them, but we're going to heal our Nectarvine and just move everything back in range of it. So we can start actually applying pressure next turn. This is interesting. If anything, this might have even helped us. Oh no, because Switchback could hit the Nectarvine. Okay, so if I were them, yeah, so I'd go for this. Okay, yeah, that's the right choice there. But I'd forgotten about Switchback, but now we're in a position where we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, potentially 8 damage onto Switchback. So 4, 5, 6, 7 Cinder to activate. So I think that's what we're going to do. Oh, they can pull it back. Interesting. So maybe we're going to be slightly out of range there. Yeah, we're going to be out of range there, but we can try and move around this way and get it in a different route. Really, this shouldn't be down. We're probably going to need to Necahual and pick that up, and maybe just play Peacemaker Balam instead. Or just play Peacemaker Balam, but Necahual seems useful here. Okay, so this seems like the right bombard target, unless we can hit both of these. That seems to hit both. Let's shoot that.
Too slow.
Perfect. Okay, so now
Grenade.
potentially being able to kill Tipu is a big deal.
Incoming! Oh, those glittering plumes.
We do need to try and keep ourselves slightly safer.
Dad taught me to share.
So Astra can get this shot off here. 60%.
Rookie mistake.
Of course we missed. So we're going to have to move back over this way.
Overcompensating.
Do the same with Florio. We've got 2 additional Cinder.
Gotta try this.
And honestly, I think we're placing Peacemaker Balam at the front. And we're going to grow some Cinder. In fact, we could have even into the breached him. We'll place some Cinder here to give them another thing to hit. Detonia is the one that we're not as worried about dying, so
Did I trigger something?
I think this is all correct. This is such a good game. This might end up being a 1-game video, but it's such a mammoth effort. So because we don't have the healing anymore, Florio is just as big of an issue as Switchback is. So they're going to try and pull Peacemaker Balam out, because that's going to be a real good endgame unit for us here. We're probably going to have to heal Axl Pyro, but whether we can ever get him into range is the issue. So maybe we have to heal Detonia, because Detonia can get shots off. Oh, they're coming in close. Oh my goodness, this is such a good situation here. And they got a miss as well. Oh my goodness. So they've just given up on Switchback, which I'm definitely not convinced is the right plan. Especially if the Flechette has range, actually. Okay, so they've realised that they have to come towards us, but they also have Florio, so they can do things about it. So this here is a dream situation for Axl Pyro. Axl Pyro might be able to even hit all 3 of these. Astra can probably just kill Tipu on her own. Really, that was a miss. Okay, well. Can we get... We can get all 3 in the Flamer.
Let there be fire.
Detonia can get both of these. Because if you, I didn't know already, this mine is going to die next turn, so we're safe on that front.
Throw grenade.
So what about the Flechette? So if we move Florio back, we should be able to get a Flechette onto both of these without hitting Florio. Perfect. We can Cinder Infusion the turret again, because nobody's going to want to kill that. We are going to heal up Detonia here, I think.
A little help.
And then Florio can use the Bombard over here as well. If we can get all 3, we might as well. Yeah, there we go. So this puts Switchback dead, Zach's nearly dead, the mine dead. This is such a good game. Like, we're going to let Antios get in, because Antios doesn't do enough to kill anything. This is going to be a 1-game video, but this is one of my favourite games I've had in a long time. This challenge list is great fun. Like, I don't see where this is going to go, because we only have Necahual left, but we might have a world in which we can play Necahual to try and save the Disruptor. Okay, so they can do enough damage to damage these and kill one of them. They can't kill both, but we've got damage to follow up and they don't. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, big Florio hit. That's going to hit 4 units. They hit 3. Okay, so they're going to plink this to kill it. Zax can kill Axl Pyro. Yep. But then, wherever Zax moves, we can probably get Detonia in range. We can absolutely hit them with Florio. We don't need to worry too much about this because we can kill it with that. But it's just having enough Cinder, so we need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for this, and we've got 9. So yeah, we can probably do this. Depending on where they move Zax and what they deploy, they could have a healing unit. Scattervine, okay. So, do we have lethal is the big question.
Oh, hey.
So this is 3, so put down to 5, 4, 3, 2, and this is 4, 5, 6, and we need 7, 8, 9 Cinder to activate these in total. So, we can't flechette their Zax, we've got nothing in the bridge that really helps here, but I think they've got nothing on the bridge either, so we only have to not die to what's on board. So can we kill everything here, other than their Florio? I think we're better off just pushing for lethal here. So let's just lob explosives onto this. And move Astra over here and get the poke. Oh, with that crit that could do it. No, it can't, we're one short. So we've got Bombard there. We don't have anything to give haste or anything like that at all. All we can do is move forwards with this and flechette Antios away. And you know what, the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grow a Cinder here to block line of sight onto us from their Zax. I don't see a world in which they live here. I think we've got this game. Oh no, they burn! Yes, the burn damage! That's my favourite game in a long time. I can't believe I'm getting a first of all, that we won our first game with this list, but also that we got such a long game out of one. We really did get nearly a half an hour video out of one game on its own. I know I said I'd do another one, but I don't think I've even got time. Like, that was an awesome, awesome video. One of my favourites in a long time. We won the game, and it was so grindy and slow, and we actually won a game with 1 attack power in our entire list. So, if you're looking for something to try that's a bit different, a bit fun, I loved this. This is my favourite list in a while. It was so hard fought. I feel like my brain would hurt if I had to play this for too long. But we won our game. We managed to sort of grind out the situation. They went on the back foot when we had some big AoE units, rather than sort of turning onto us, and that gave us enough time to sort of work onto it. I wasn't expecting them to have Florio as well. That was a really good choice. Without that, we'd have been in a lot of trouble. Oh, we've unlocked a Nectarvine portrait as well, so that was great. Honestly, I've got no complaints here whatsoever. I can't believe we won the actual game as well. In honour of that, we will put Nectarvine as our portrait. Get that in there, wherever the new icon is. There we go. That was a thing of beauty. So, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, if you guys try this out, let me know if you have any success. It's literally the lowest attack power you can have in a list at the moment, and we won our game with it. So, really, really happy. If you want to see more things like this, I'm going to try and come up with more challenge videos as well. One of them is going to be a sort of a normal melee list that we're going to look at as well. We're going to try and fit in as many different things as possible, and just see if we can play until we get a win. And most of all, hit the like button, drop a comment, let me know what you think, and more importantly than any of that, have a good day.